Are you a magician with hands that just don't live up to size? Tired of flopping beginner level cuts? Can't even seem to do a simple hotshot cut? Well, now there's a solution. The Big Pill. The Big Pill can help your hands grow and make even the largest deck of cards feel tiny. The Big Pill is scientifically proven to work by going in your mouth and down your... What's up, my cardistry fans and magicians? Today we're going to start the first video in a series on how to do the hotshot cut. The series will not only go over how to do a hotshot cut, but how to do more expert level and smoother looking hotshot cuts, and how to control a card to the bottom of the deck, which is necessary for any hotshot cut. Today's video will strictly be about taking a beginner level, meaning you can't do any hotshot cuts whatsoever, but maybe you can do a Charlier and a Revolution cut, and teaching you how to do a hotshot cut that doesn't rely on big hands. I also picked this cut because it's a great stepping stone to learn other cuts from. This cut helped me develop the flexibility to learn other hotshot cuts and things like the one-handed shuffle. So first, a definition. When I say a hotshot cut, I don't just strictly mean Daryl's version of the hotshot cut. I mean any cut that disguises the fact that you are shooting the bottom card out of the deck. So you cut the cards and the bottom card is actually the one being shot out. So if you already know a way to control a card to the bottom, after watching this video, you'll be able to do a hotshot cut routine. Now this particular cut that you're going to learn today was developed by a magician who used to do Daryl's version of the hotshot cut. He broke his hand, wasn't no longer able to do it, so he had to develop this version for his newly arthritic hand. When I learned this from him, I figured it would be easier to learn this version because my hand size, my hands are fairly small in terms of magicians, and I was right. Now if you do find this video helpful, make sure to give it a like and subscribe, because there's going to be more videos in the series released in the next couple dates. So if you want to be notified about those, make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell thing so it'll tell you when I release the next couple videos. Okay, no more procrastinating. Grab yourself a deck of cards, and let's get started. So I just wanted to kind of give a little demo of what the cut looks like close up. So you start off just like any normal one-handed cut, but then we're going to do something different by changing the position. You then execute the cut. One card comes out and shoots out. Alright, so before we get started, make sure that you don't use a brand new deck to do this. It'll just be a lot harder to learn this with a brand new deck. Just like any new cut that you learn, you want to use something that's a bit worn in. That way the cards aren't too slippery. So, we start in the modified mechanics grip. We place our thumb on this side. You place your first finger on the other side. Oh, I'm sorry. If we want to go, there's actually two ways to get into the grip. So let's go over both of those really quick. So the first way, oh, of course the sunlight's coming in just barely on my finger. So the first way to get into the grip is to actually take your middle finger and place it next to your first finger. Take your first finger and place it next to your thumb, and then just let go with your pinky, and then you are in the grip. You might have to adjust it using your thumb, but here we are in the grip. The other way to get into the grip from the modified mechanics grip is to go the opposite direction. Now there's a couple more steps to this, but this can look a little bit smoother. You're going to take your thumb, place it on this side of the deck, take your first finger and go to your middle finger instead of the other way around this time. Then you should be able to hold the cards like this. You should be able to kind of let go with your fingers. You're going to actually take your middle finger and go to the bottom, get your ring finger to the other side, and then squeeze so that way your first finger kind of glides down a little bit this way, and now you're in that grip. So again, there's two ways to go. You could go take your middle finger towards your first finger and go that way, or you could make it a little bit more showy by taking your first finger going towards your middle finger to the bottom, ring finger to the other side. I like that way a little better. I think it gives a little extra rotation, makes it look a little bit fancier. Also, let's go ahead and remove 1/3 of the deck. That'll make this also easier to learn. Do not remove half the deck. That'll actually make it harder. If you don't have enough cards, it will make it harder to do the hot shot cut. But if you start with 1/3 off, that's about perfect. So you got about 2/3 of the deck right here. So we're holding it in this modified grip. Your pinky is on, or not your pinky, your ring finger is on the bottom, middle finger at the top, and your first finger at the other side. Your thumb is going to go to this corner here and just kind of pull a couple cards down and then start making its way inside. It's going to slide in and over to the other side of the deck here. You're then going to press towards your pointer finger with your thumb so this starts to pivot. Now you don't want to pivot as far as you can go. If you actually try to go as far as you can go, you'll realize you can only go about this far. So what we have to do is adjust these fingers to allow our hand to be more flexible. So to do that, you're actually going to place your middle finger next to your ring finger first, just like this. And then you're going to get your pinky to the bottom. Now I did that relatively smooth. It might take a little bit of a wiggling action for you to do that. So I'll start again. So you might have to kind of wiggle your pinky so it gets to the bottom here. Now we're in this. Now you should feel like, oh, I can move a little bit farther. You want to pivot this just enough so you can press this way with these two fingers. You're going to push so it starts sliding up and over the first finger. Now, unlike a revolution cut where you would remove your finger, you actually want this to stay where it is. Once you get to this point, you're going to use your first finger to kind of just push that bottom card out. So I'm push, push, and then it's going to pivot around your middle finger here. Just like that. And this is going to be our goal position for right now. So your whole goal is to, with one hand, get into this position. The first couple times you do this, you may have to use your other hand to help you out. That's going to be no big deal. With time, you will be able to do it very smoothly. So let's get rid of that card. So I'm going to start over. I'm going to go through it slow once. So now again, you're going to take your thumb. You're going to pull down about half the cards. Put your thumb on the inside. Slide it so it goes to the other side of the deck, opposite of your pointer finger. Now you're going to push towards your first finger with your thumb. Now you don't want to go too far, not as far as you can go, but just about, maybe a little less, or about 90 degrees. Enough so the flexibility is still there, so you can put your middle finger from the top here, right next to your ring. Then once that has happened, you're going to take your pinky and place it to the bottom. And then you might need to readjust and slide a little bit. Now you're going to rotate the top section of the packet as much as you can, just so this can clear and you can push. It should start levering and sliding up over your index finger till you get to this position. Then you can use your index finger to kind of wiggle out that bottom card. And then you're ready to do the shot, which you're going to use your middle finger to actually accomplish. Alright, so let's go over a couple things. So as you do this, if you can already do it with 1/3 of the deck, start adding some cards and see if you can still do it until you get back to the full deck. I'm going to go through this a little bit faster this time. You dig your thumb in, press, it rotates, you move your middle finger and your pinky, and then as this slides over is when I start stretching out my first finger. Now this is where a lot of people have trouble because they glide their fingernail on the card. What you might want to do is just glide until you hit the tip of your finger here, then start pushing, and then you're going to rotate. So I push straight up this way, and then I pivot my first finger to the side like this to get that card out. So if we watch this from the back, I can get back into that position here. See if I can do this without dropping cards if I hold it upside down. So you'll see I push and then pivot that card out. Give you another angle on that. So again, you're from here, so my fingernail slides, I contact the card, and if you do get this happening here where it feels like it's not going any farther, all you have to do is come down and then push, and you're trying to, your whole goal is to push with the tip of your finger rather than your nail. I've also seen it too where people can use the top of their skin of their first finger to kind of push that out too. I can't really do that. I think my skin here is too smooth, but you can push it out like this and then you have it out. Your middle finger also doesn't need to stay still. It could help you push that out. Eventually you'll get to a point where it'll be less wiggly looking. It won't look like you're just like pushing it out like that, and it will end up being a smooth action. But that does come with a little bit of time. Your goal right now is as much wiggling, doesn't matter, don't worry about the wiggling, just get that card to about 90 degrees. It doesn't have to be perfect, that should actually be good enough to do the hot shot cut. As long as it is within this here range, you should be able to accomplish the shot. Okay, so let's talk about how to do the shot itself. Now the shot itself is pretty simple. Once you get it, it's just a knack thing, but once you hit it, you'll start getting it a lot more often. It'll be very obvious to you what you're supposed to feel. So let's do the whole cut here, and I'm going to get back into the position right here. So what you're going to do is once you're here, you can leave your first finger where it is. It's not going to matter for the moment, but you'll see that the card is slightly bent. And the packets aren't 100% together. There is a slight amount of gap. You don't want them 100% together, or what'll happen is it'll just shoot to the top here. You do want a slight gap between the cards. There we go. Alright, so you do want a little bit of a gap, as you can see. And the two packets aren't perfectly lined. That's okay. They can be, they can't be, it doesn't matter. It's more about the pressure on this card. So you'll see that it's a little bit bent. My first finger's pushing on it. What's going to happen is my middle finger is going to go behind and go to the corner here. My first finger is going to let go, and the middle finger is going to take over that bevel. Now, what's going to happen is, this is going to be the position you're going to have to figure out, is where exactly to put your middle finger. I put it basically on the index here, on the index of the card, that number. And as I bend, what I'm really doing with my middle finger is just bringing it back to where it was before. I'm bringing it from here back to next to the ring finger. So if I do that in one smooth action, just from here to here, it'll shoot out. So again, we do the cut. That card comes out. I use my middle finger, and then I shoot it out. Alright, let's go over a couple, God, that sunlight's driving me nuts, but let's go over a couple tips and tidbits to kind of help you out with the cut. So a worn-in deck is going to be easier. When you do this rotation, remember, it's not about stretching your fingers, it's about moving them. So you want to move you want to move your middle finger next to your ring finger. You want to move your pinky to the bottom. Then you can start pushing. It should feel a little bit more roomy. And then see how I can sometimes get that? I want to push this as these cards are coming on top of each other. And look at that little bit of gap. Little bit of gap in between the cards. Take my middle finger, put it onto the index of the card, and I'm going to push and put the middle finger back to where it belongs to shoot that card out. Now for your catching hand, you want your catching hand just like this. So if you know how to do a top shot, it's the same kind of catch. You want your fingers below, your thumb on top to catch the card. And as you do this more and more, distance will be easier and easier. And I would just play around, and you'll start to see it arcs like this, just a slight bit. It'll either go straight or it will slightly arc, and that will depend on how level you are with the ground. If you are tip it up towards yourself, you're going to get that arc. If you are perfectly level with the ground, it's going to shoot more straight. That's all I have for the explanation on the hot shot cut. If you think I missed anything, or if you're having some kind of issue I didn't foresee, let me know in the comments below. Alright guys, hopefully if you are still having issues at this point, you're at least a lot further along than you were when you started the video. And if you are still having trouble, just keep practicing. Eventually you'll get to a point where the flexibility is just there, and you'll be able to execute the cut no problem. Now if you did find this video helpful, make sure to give it a like and subscribe, because on the next video I'm going to show you how to control a card to the bottom of the deck and make this a real full-fledged magic trick. Till then, adios.